Hi everyone, I'm MissV. Today I want to talk about Lao Tzu and his Tao Te Ching. In everyday life, we often hear the saying, work hard and you will succeed. But have you noticed that sometimes the harder people try, the more setbacks they face? Lao Tzu reminds us that only by following the Tao, the natural way, can we move with the flow. If we go against it, it's like swimming upstream, full of struggle. Lao Tzu was one of the greatest thinkers in ancient China, honored as the founder of Taoism. Legend says he was born with white hair and white beard, so people call him Lao Tzu, which simply means the old master. One day, a gatekeeper named Yingxi noticed a purple cloud drifting across the sky. He believed it was a sign that a sage was coming, so he followed the direction of the cloud. Soon after, he met Lao Tzu, riding on his ox and leaving his government post to retire in peace. Yingxi asked him to write down his wisdom, and Lao Tzu composed the Tao Te Ching, a short book of just 5,000 characters, yet filled with timeless insights. The Tao Te Ching opens with the famous line, "The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name." In other words, the true Tao cannot be seen or touched. It can't really be captured by words. Any name or description we use will always fall short of reality. Think of cooking. At first, you might rely on recipes, but real skill comes from sensing the right heat and timing. Too much fire and the food burns. Too little fire and the food stays raw. Only through trial, error, and adjustment do you find the perfect balance. That balance, that intuition, is Tao. Someone can tell you a great truth, but the truth is, you don't know what you don't know. Without personal experience, the lesson hasn't really sunk in. Lao Tzu also described Tao as something confusedly formed, which existed before heaven and earth. So Tao is in everything, and everything is part of Tao. This concept is very similar to the idea of God in the Bible. Some people even see Tao as God, simply under a different name. And because the Tao runs through everything, we can see its presence reflected in nature. Nature itself has its own language. Think of strong winds or heavy rains. They may feel powerful, but they never last too long, because in nature, the most natural state is calm and balanced. Lao Tzu pointed out that people should learn from nature, avoid excessive interference or control, and instead allow things to unfold naturally. This idea leads directly to one of Lao Tzu's most famous concepts, Wu Wei, often translated as non-action. So what does Wu Wei really mean? Lao Tzu put it in this way: the Tao invariably takes no action, yet through it, everything is done. But non-action doesn't mean doing nothing. It means not doing things that go against the natural order. It's about moving with nature rather than against it. Think about standing on tiptoe. Even a ballet dancer cannot hold that pose for a very long time because it's unnatural. In the same way, when we try too hard or place too much expectation on something, we often make it harder to succeed. Chasing perfection or obsessing over results can actually throw us off course. In work, overworking can leave you physically and mentally drained, with no energy left to keep going. In relationships, giving too much without balance can lead to heartbreak, because one-sided effort barely lasts. This is against the Tao. And when you spend your life doing things you are not good at or don't enjoy, you are fighting against the Tao. Imagine Yao Ming trying to be a chemist, or Picasso playing basketball. Effort in the wrong direction doesn't just fail, it backfires. Effort in the wrong direction is often useless, and the harder you push, the worse the outcome. That's because such actions go against the natural order, ignoring the rhythm and inner logic of how things develop. That's why Lao Tzu reminds us, don't fight the flow, go with it, And this idea leads us to another of Lao Tzu's profound insights. He reminds us that the true greatness isn't about rushing or forcing, it unfolds in its own time. That's why there's another famous passage often quoted as, "The greatest vessel is lost completed." But in the ancient Silk manuscripts found in Mawangdui in 1973, the line actually reads, "The greatest vessel is not deliberately made." And that version fits better with the original context. The original context is, "The greatest square has no corners. The greatest vessel is lost completed. The greatest sound is hardly heard. The greatest image has no form." If you replace "the greatest vessel is lost completed" with "the greatest vessel is not deliberately made," the whole passage becomes more consistent. Each line emphasizes that true greatness is not about artificial effort or forced completion, but about natural existence beyond human control. "The greatest vessel is not deliberately made" tells us that people who achieve great things do so by following the Tao, not by brute force. You might only see the next 50 meters of your road, but fate sees your whole life road. So how do you know you are on the right path? Just look at your passion. If you get caught up in what you are doing, what we call flow, that's usually a sign you are aligned with the Tao. Take Confucius. He spent 10 years as a government official and accomplished almost nothing. But when he turned to teaching, he loved guiding his students, tailoring each lesson to their strengths. That was his true calling. If he had stayed in government service, the world might have lost a sage. His story shows us direction matters more than effort. So before you push yourself harder, stop for a second and ask, am I going with the flow or am I fighting against it? Because when you are aligned with the Tao, effort feels natural. But when you are against the Tao, even your hardest work will leave you stuck. So you might wonder, how do we practice Wu Wei in our daily life? Lao Tzu said, in governing people and serving heaven, there's nothing like use restraint. In other words, keep things simple. If something can be done in a straightforward way, don't make it complicated. By saving energy on small matters, you will have more strength and time for what truly matters. Step by step, this brings you closer to the Tao. Modern wisdom echoes this too. In the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, there's a principle. Focus on the important but not urgent tasks, instead of being dragged around by endless urgent distractions. In life, that means cutting away the clutter, setting clear priorities, and pouring your energy into one meaningful goal. It's like trimming a plant. If you cut off the extra branches, the single flower left behind can bloom more brilliantly because it receives all the nutrients. That's the beauty of simplicity. Less is more. And that's why the Tao Te Ching, in just 5,000 characters, captures timeless truths with stunning simplicity. True wisdom doesn't need endless words. The Tao itself is simplicity. And simplicity leads us to another of Lao Tzu's profound insights. Softness overcomes hardness. Just as less can be more, what seems soft can actually be stronger than what looks powerful. Lao Tzu said, when people are alive, they are soft and flexible. But when they die, they become hard and stiff. Plants are tender when they grow, but dry and brittle when they wither. So hardness is a sign of death, while softness is a sign of life. In other words, what is hard eventually breaks, but what is soft endures. The best example of this is water. Lao Tzu wrote, "The highest good is like water. Water benefits all things and does not compete. It flows to places people despise, to the lowest ground. That's why it is closest to the Tao." Water nourishes everything. It never fights. It takes the shape of whatever holds it. It can be soft enough to wash away dust. It is strong enough to carve valleys and wear down stone. And because it seeks the low places, it shows humility. That's why Lao Tzu saw water as a perfect symbol of the Tao, gentle, adaptable, and unstoppable. So in life, don't rush into conflict. Don't waste your energy on arguments. Even if someone insults you, you don't have to fight back. Like water, you can stay calm, flow around it, and keep moving forward. To wrap it up, let me borrow the legendary Bruce Lee's words: "Be water, my friend, be water."